And the main thing we cannot forget is I am the unified heavyweight champion.
You predicted BJ was going to beat me, didn't you? You predicted he's going to beat me. He got smashed.
All these years, the UK fighters had to go to America. Everyone had to spend a heap of money to go to Vegas. We can do it in London, around Wembley, Cardiff. It's local. We're staying right here. Wanda, let's go, baby! Let's go!
I smashed your buddy, your playmate, your playboy, your nightclub buddy, and I will smash you the exact same way.
Dylan White, Derek Chisora, Big Baby Miller, Joe Joyce. You can all have it. Dominic Brazil, whoever else is in America too. All of it.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Let people rabbit on. That's why God gave you one mouth and two ears. Do more listening than talking. All the talk sort of shit.
Get him in the ring and I'll knock him spark out. Thank you very much.
All you gotta do is set the date. Don't wait, mate.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes, yes, yes. What is up? What is up, Patreon family? On that 3-day exclusive access to the return of UK Hour. Another air horn for that. Yes. Finally back in your lives. Yes, weekly. The tentative day is Wednesday, even though this week was off because we were sick and scheduling and all that stuff. But Wednesday is going to be the day of UK Hour going forward, at least from what it looks like for me and my schedule. But digressing, obviously, I'm going to turn the show over to Mr. Robbie Hearns himself, your hero, your champion of what's the name of is it the Union Jack, right? That's the name of the flag, right? Yes, the Union Jack, the champion of the Union Jack, Her Majesty's own Sir Robbie Hearns himself. Rob, how are you doing? How does it feel to have your baby back alive? You know, some new life in it.
That turns me on. That really makes me horny.
Oh, it does.
It does. It really does. But yeah, UK Hour. Welcome back. Not a whole bunch of topics, but I think we'll take this as obviously we got DeGale Eubank Jr. this weekend. Obviously Joe Joyce on the undercard against Bermain Stavern and Lee Selby. I think Omar Douglas is also on the card. So we've obviously got that as far as UK fights this weekend. But I think we'll touch on, you know, like there's sort of the lineup for March and maybe a few other little bits and pieces, you know, sort of UK news and just sort of little ideas about that. But obviously going forward, there'll be more, especially as the boxing calendar is going to really start moving now. I think sort of come March, I think there's on Sky, there's boxing every weekend through March. So, you know, that some of them are US cards, but there's UK fighters on there. So, yeah, we'll have a lot more like links and talking points and what have you. But just, yeah, we can sort of sum up the, you know, what it's looking like for the calendar. We've obviously got the Eddie's plans for the Joshua Miller undercard. So, yeah, if I don't know quite exactly where you want to start with, maybe DeGale Eubank.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking DeGale Eubank. Since that is the card this weekend. But before we get to that, let's get to our other co-host today, who has the day off today. I think tomorrow as well. So you know he's here. People have been asking about you, Fugatti. People have been worried about you, saying that you're not around, you're not available. They're concerned. They think that I've kicked you out. I pulled some name redacted move on you somehow. But Fugatti, how you doing? Welcome to UK Hour.
Hey man, it's a cool thing to be a part of UK Hour, right? You know, the return. I get to be like the third wheel in this love affair here. Yeah, man, I'm excited. A lot of really good cards. UK boxing. It's Rob, wouldn't you say better than ever right now? A lot of good names.
Maybe.
So, no, I think we're in a good spot right now, I think, for boxing. I know some cards. I heard you mention it on the MMA show, actually. You bringing it up that Sky weren't necessarily happy with the Cheeseman card, but you know, Cheeseman on another card is you know, is there's good individual fighters maybe, but the actual card wasn't maybe, you know, quite what Sky were hoping for their Saturday night, you know, sort of free Saturday night fights. But yeah, I think we got a lot of good names. It's kind of almost, we're at a point now with the UK boxing that it's the young guys are going to have to start to come through and sort of show themselves on a more bigger scale. They've been doing next gen stuff. They've been doing undercard stuff, but they're going to be starting to step up now because, we've got like Belly who's retired, other fighters coming to the end. The end of their careers, like your Cal Brooks probably hasn't got too many left. Amir Khan maybe won't have any left after April 20th.
Damn, Rob. Midi's going to be so sad right now when you said that.
Yeah, it is what it is. But so it's time these, Eddie's got a lot of Olympians. Frank's got some good youngsters and fighters that are fringe, like the Anthony Yards of this world, obviously been sort of linked with Kovalev as far as he's mandatory. Maybe a little too soon for Yard, I would suggest. But there's good boxers across the cards, and obviously PBC coming over, and they got Joyce representing sort of the UK side of things with ITV via the BBC and things like that. So I think we're in good shape. It's just always that trying to get it across the Americans are almost like, who's that guy, who's that guy, who's that guy. But obviously with DAZN and ESPN picking up Frank Warren's cards now, there's going to be an opportunity to be in the shop window or that kind of, to be seen more. Whereas before, if you're a diehard, you maybe found a link to watch a Sky card or whatever. So now there's that opportunity, and I think some of our guys will sort of not be on the lips of all American boxing fans, but certain ones will know them when they probably maybe wouldn't have. So
no, I think you're absolutely right about that, Rob. And also I want to get to sort of a more broader point before we even get to like DeGale, Eubank, or anything like that. Is this idea of a changing of the guard? There seems to be a generational change, but it seems like we're close to that, I think, in the UK. Again, I think we had a few, maybe 5 something years ago, we had the Groves, Eubank, DeGale, Carl Frampton. We had that sort of era come into play. Anthony Joshua is included in that generation, I would argue, as well.
Maybe Froch a little bit slightly earlier.
Froch, I would say Froch is an in-between generation between like Ricky Hatton and that one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Froch is somewhere in between those two. But on top of that, we're having, I would say, the 2 biggest UK names right now, Fury and AJ, making the trip to the US. I think not that that's a concern for the UK market, but where is the next big UK name that's going to be, selling out venues? That is now a question, not an issue. It's just a question that now has to be looked at, because AJ, Fury, I think the big fights that they're going to make are now going to be in the U.S. going forward. And along, like you said, just the natural change in the guard. Frampton's no longer on top. DeGale is no longer on top. Groves is gone. Now we have Colin Smith. We have a changing of the guard. So out of that change in the guard generation, which one of those can then be the next AJ? Next, even Tyson Fury, for example. Even though Tyson Fury is not a huge name, he is still a pretty significant one, I would say, in the UK sporting landscape. Who's the next generation of that new guard to take that spot of those 2 in the UK and be the next maybe Wembley main eventers, so to speak?
I'm really starting to wonder just how this American venture for Joshua, where that leaves the likes of like a Wembley boxing event for a little while. I would imagine. I think they'll stick to things like the O2, Manchester Arena. I'm not sure who's going to be doing a stadium right now. There's maybe potential there.
And again, right now is not exactly what I'm asking for.
No,
the future,
no.
The next 5 years. Who do you see as the guy that could be or matchup, perhaps? Maybe it's not the guy. Maybe it's the matchup. The next Froch Groves, the next AJ, the next Hatton. Whatever sort of comparison we want to use here. Who is that next guy? Who is that next matchup to sell out of Wembley Stadium?
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. I think, obviously, as far as, someone that's good on the eye, there's like your Josh Kelly's, and that's quite a glamour division at, 147. But is he going to be that guy? That's going to have to pan out, Obviously, he's great to watch, super skilled, and, like a little bit different, especially from the old school kind of UK style. He's sort of very far away from that right now, and you know, sort of, I don't know, just super skilled, flashy, and all that. That's not what we've come to. You know, we talked yesterday about Lomachenko and Kroller. Kroller is very traditional. The high guard, get tucked in behind, you know, elbows tucked in, and sort of come forward and keep popping up out from the guard and
very stereotypical.
Yeah, I guess that it's the old sort of Euro bum, you know, air quote Euro bum, high guard, you know, on the double telephone, you know, holding. So, you know, that's maybe the more traditional. But I think we've seen with some of the Olympians coming out of the Team GB that it's almost like they've been given this, you know, go and express yourself, be, you know, whether you know there's been changes in coaching down the line, but I think guys have been able to express themselves and show what they want to become as far as their fighting style. So it's fun to watch, and it's who is that guy going to be? It's difficult to say at the moment, because I think as much as the old guys are going out and the new are coming in, there's almost like no one halfway there, if you know what I mean. It's like we're at the beginning and some are at the end. There's not that.
No, you're right. I think that's how it's supposed to be. Again, like to expect anything in the immediate future for, like, again, to fill out the void of AJ no longer being at Cardiff and Wembley exclusively for his fights, right? Like, there's an economic vacuum now in the boxing landscape that UK boxing grew accustomed to rather quickly for only a short time. I would say, if somehow, again, just throwing out spitballing here, then I want to go to Fugatti. The matchup that came to my mind, as in like 5 years from now, it could be a fight to fill out Wembley and do 60, 70, 80,000 people in attendance. Buatsi and Anthony Yard. That's a matchup that first sprang to mind as the Frotch Grove sort of maybe comparison. Because maybe it's not a fighter. I don't really see, like you say, Rob, that guy to be the next AJ. I don't see that yet. But I do see certain matchups. Like, certain matchups pique my interest going forward about what it could look like. Joe Joyce, Daniel Dubois, like in 3 or 4 years' time, could that do a 40 or 50,000 seater somewhere? Maybe. That may not be out of the question in, again, 4 or 5 years' time. That is leaving, obviously, a lot of room for speculation and fantasy, but, hey, that's where we're at right now. Fugatti, your thoughts about, and again, I really want your opinion because you're an outsider more like me, your thoughts on what could be that matchup to be the next Wembley fight for the UK or the next Wembley fighter for the UK?
I think for sure on a talent level, like a Yard and Buatsi could line up, and Buatsi, I think, will prove that he's more than just, European level or British level. Like, he's going to be a guy that does excel on the world stage. Yard, I'm not so sure about yet because, he's never really impressed me. And like with what Rob's saying, coming in and being Kovalev's kind of mandatory type thing, he could get exposed really quickly. I don't think he's on that level. When you look at it, I mean, he's ducked people like Hosea Burton. Yep. So he's not trying to have that fight. He's not wanting to fight with Callum Johnson, right? Like he's kind of like really moved through the division, with obviously great matchmaking. I mean, some of the game is making your fighter always look good. And they've done a good job with that. But, that is also something that kind of, American fans kind of shit on UK boxing for, because these guys go and look brilliant. And then those step up fights, those world level fights, just get dominated. So I'm worried about that with Yard. I'm not so much worried about that with Buatsi. I think where he trains and who he trains with and his skill set, I think he'll be fine. But Yard I would worry about.
Quickly, Gary in the chat, I don't I don't think it will, but I will obviously want you guys' opinion. Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders. If that has another maybe 18-month, 2-year build up to that fight, could that be something to, again, not maybe do 90,000, but could that be a 60,000, 50,000, 70,000 event?
I don't think so. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders is particularly the greatest ticket seller, and I don't think Callum Smith is that guy either. To be honest, obviously Billy Joe can talk the talk, and we know he's a very skilled boxer. But I wouldn't say Callum Smith. You know, and no knock to people that we sometimes criticize. Oh, his personality is not the best, or
and again,
not everyone's going to be this, you know, amazing salesman. They're just good boxers. It's just they haven't got that in their locker as well.
Attached to that, Rob, very quickly. Talent and stardom are not directly linked.
No,
you can be the most talented boxer in the world, the greatest boxer in the world, the greatest of all time, and not be known. That can happen. Shout out Pernell Whitaker.
Or you could be Adrian Broner.
Yep, another good example.
Yeah, the vice versa example. But I mean, sort of going back to like, who's the next sort of Joshua? Who's the next? I to some regard, I'm a little worried as to when Joshua does, you know, hang up the gloves, because I think he's been almost a phenom. I don't think we're going to see the likes of a Joshua in this country, maybe for a very long time. You know, he may inspire the next one, but it'll be a good while before we see that level of just what AJ's done over here. You know, I think as much as we say like, oh, UK boxing's booming, I think to a large degree that is down to what Joshua has achieved. Just somehow that he has ignited and made 90,000 people come and watch him at Wembley. It's crazy. I know Froch Groves don't know, like as Froch likes to tell us, 80,000 people in front of Wembley, but that was like you said, like almost like a great matchup. I wouldn't necessarily say Froch was
that caught a moment. Yeah.
I remember Eddie said when I said it to my dad, should we do this in Wembley? And his dad's like, fuck no. And Eddie's like, yeah, I think this will do well. And then they sort of went through, I think 40,000 tickets. He's like, I can't believe it sold 40,000. And he said, it's done 45,000. It's done 50,000. And it was just, for some reason, it just caught fire. That was, a lot of people wanted to watch it, and it done really well. And almost like Barry was like, fuck me, you did it. I can't believe you did it. You know, it came off. That was, to a lot of people in the business, like, wow, I can't believe that done that. But AJ has done what he's done and almost inspired. And I think we maybe will see another Joshua level person, but I think it might be a long time coming. You talk about the Dubois again. Really not that. I'm not saying Joshua's the greatest talker, but we've just seen obviously at the press conference.
I definitely understand. No, I don't get me wrong. From what I get from from what I get from you and other people in the chat, like Potential Lunatic, other sort of UK listeners, AJ is like that Mayweather status for the UK, like that sort of perspective, where it's like it's impossible to really compare stardom wise anyone to that, because they're so far and away an anomaly. Like nothing comes close to AJ numbers in the UK in its entire history. Mayweather is sort of that same thing, obviously, for the US and boxing overall. You know, like certain stars, once they hit a certain level, everyone else becomes incomparable. It just does. You know, like there is a certain aspect of like hitting all the right points at the right time. You have to have charisma. You have to have that X factor. You have to get the right wins at the right time. The wins have to look a certain way. You have to get the right media spots, say the right things at the right time, have the right beef, have the right rival. Like you need so much around you to become a superstar, and it all needs to hit perfectly. So that's why we only have one or two in a generation. I've always said that. Like it's the rule of two, like in Star Wars for like Sith Lords, right? Like it's the rule of two in boxing. You can only have two superstars at any one time. We had Mayweather Pacquiao. Now we have Canelo Joshua. Like you can only have two superstars at one time in boxing.
Yeah, I mean, you bring it up about like fights happening at the right time. Now, like
Klitschko is the perfect example of that.
Yeah, Joshua Klitschko, and again about building people maybe wanting to watch you. Joshua went down for the first time in his professional career, and people were like, "Oh shit." I remember sitting there watching it like, oh my God, like what? did that just happen? It was like, oh god, and then he's hanging on for the round, and you're like, oh my god. Oh my God. Thank God. I mean, it looked like Vladimir kind of blew himself out and couldn't put Joshua away. You know, he was a little bit cautious when you think a younger Klitschko probably would have jumped on him. But that moment made a whole bunch of people and, you know, media and YouTube channels and whatever say Joshua was suddenly chinny, right? So he's just got to get caught. I'm going to watch the next one, whether you want to see him lose if you're from a certain side of the pond and things like.
I don't think that's not the takeaway I had from it.
No, not all. I'm not saying everyone's thought like that, but a certain section suddenly Joshua's chinny. So there's some appeal there that he's not like this invincible. He was, you know, all the knockouts in a row and then there's the side
that's 10%. I think you had a Tyson Fury effect. You understand? Like you had that he got up moment. I think everyone like it's the Rocky moment, like where like he's on the ground and Adrian's yelling at him, get up, Rocky. Like AJ had that moment. Tyson Fury had that moment. Those moments are iconic in a way, right? I think that is honestly him getting knocked down helped make him a star.
That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
But you're taking it as more of a because people thought he was chinny and therefore wanted to see if he would lose. I don't think that's why it happened at all.
Oh, no,
I think people saw a guy in an exciting fight go down, get back up. That is sellable across every culture, every nation, every language. People see that, they understand it.
Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is whether people want to take certain moments as a slight negative or a positive, in some way they both meet up as a positive because of like who was it caught Mayweather with he kind of dipped his knees and then there was the, you know, like I forget who was it who landed on Mayweather pretty good and he sort of his knees dipped out from under him just for a split second but it's just that almost like that he's not like completely invincible and I think that's almost a positive sometimes, you know, when you see a vulnerability in someone. But if you, like you say, throw in the charisma with that, and if you throw in certain other ingredients, this is what makes, and like you said, he got up, he finished the job. The uppercut on Klitschko, iconic. You see that on virtually every Joshua promo now, like, you know, Klitschko's head rocking back and, you know, and it's all pointed and helped him become what this is. And do we see that again in the next 5-10 years? I'm not convinced that that's around the corner for any of the young guys right now. It, like you said, it takes timing, the right fight, and things like that. But yeah, we'll have to see. But for me, I'm wondering what the next stadium fight really might be for the UK, and with Joshua looking at this US venture. I know recently, I think on the Breakfast Club this morning, he was mentioning if after Miller, if we can't get the Wilder fight or the Fury fight, Luis Ortiz is the next one. So that's obviously, I believe, going to be in America again. So
you know what's funny is that Fugatti is that Rob is like name dropping Breakfast Club, like he just knows what that is.
Yeah, I love it.
And he didn't learn what he didn't learn what that was like a few days ago.
No, I'd heard of the Breakfast Club. It was the other one I hadn't heard of. Who's that? Sway?
Yeah, Sway. Yeah, Sway.
I don't know if we're allowed.
You know that iconic like how Sway how you know that meme?
No.
You know that meme. If I send you the meme in our group chat right now, I guarantee you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You ain't got the answers, Sway.
You ain't got all the answers.
I don't. I do not know.
Oh my god, uncultured.
What I really think is interesting about UK boxing right now, and it's not necessarily to me like who's the next stadium star. It's more like the Anthony Fowlers and how he fits into 154 on the world level. The Jordan Gills, how does he fit in at 126 on the world level? You know, Josh Taylor, is he going to dominate 140 and then move up to 147 and become a player in a really big division? You know, are we going to see Pretty Boy Kelly really break out and be that, you know, air quote, the UK Lomachenko? You know, like, is he really on that level? Because I think there's a lot of fun fighters there. I think that because Josh was a heavyweight, everyone wants to talk about Dubois. Everyone wants to talk about Joyce. Everyone wants to talk about White. But I think there's a lot of people in these lower divisions in the UK. Like, for instance, Charlie Edwards. And he's a fantastic, like, he's great. Is good kid, could definitely be. What about Warrington? Josh Warrington is a fucking fantastic fighter. Fun to watch. Great fights, right? Like, those are the guys I'm more interested in and seeing, and they're probably just 10, 20,000 stadiums, right?
Yeah,
But,
I mean, you're removing the goalposts there when we're talking about like what we're talking about with star power here. Because I mean, could Josh Warrington be a headliner and sell out the 15 and 20,000 seaters moving forward in his career if he keeps winning? Absolutely. Same with
he already is. He won the world title in his home.
No, I know that. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, he can of course do that, but he's never gonna go to Wembley in a main event at Wembley and sell that out and do 60, 70, 80,000. Like, that's just not a possibility in my mind.
To be fair, I don't think there's like a matchup that would do that, no matter where you put that fight.
And I'll be honest, anyone below 147 pounds, they're not getting that done. I'm sorry.
I agree.
As unfortunate as it is, because like you have guys like Joe Cordina down in that weight range, who I love, but it's fucking Joe Cordina. No one cares about him. Like, Josh Kelly is the lowest guy in weight class we can go at and say, yeah, he can still maybe do a Wembley event. You know, if Josh Kelly turns out to be the goods and he has a Terrence Crawford fight or an Earl Spence fight or a Danny Garcia or a Mikey Garcia fight, yeah, of course. I mean, all those matchups, if they're in the UK, that could be a Wembley event. I would agree. Right, Rob? Like, you maybe not sell it out, but I mean, you put a Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford versus Josh Kelly, again, in the world that both guys are winning, both guys are active and champions, whatever, you know what I mean? That's a sellout event, easily. But even then, Josh Kelly doesn't have the domestic rival, right? Like, he doesn't have the Amir Khan, Kell Brook dynamic with anyone right now, and even those guys aren't fighting.
Well, Conor Benn recently just called him out.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Conor Benn.
And Conor Benn will get fucked up.
Yeah, but that's the
thing. Stay away from that fight.
Conor Benn is losing to, like, fucking King Arthur Pinard or whatever the dude's name was, man. He's struggling. Cedric Pinard, remember that dude?
Yeah, when did he lose to Cedric Pinard?
Air quote, losing. You know he lost that first one. Even the second one was close, man. What are you talking about?
Second one wasn't close.
Second one was close.
You're talking about one of Robbie's like favorite fighters.
I know that, but the second one was close. Yeah. It wasn't as entertaining as the first fight, but it was close. It was.
There was to me, there was no debate over the second one. The first one was like,
you know why there's no debate?
In my opinion.
You know why there's no debate? Because the fight wasn't that good, so no one really cared.
No, it really wasn't. It didn't live up to
potential lunatic.
It was so
saying Conor Benn's on Peds.
He's growing his hair out and all sorts. More tattoos. You know, we'll see. We'll see.
Hey, tattoos add to knockout power. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You just got that badder looking mean streak about you, and it just gives you an extra 10% on your shots.
Facts.
Yeah. But we'll have to see on all this. You know, like I said, I don't think Conor Benn is, Josh Kelly probably will be a Saturday night fight at some point, but I think Kelly's already advanced, and if Conor Benn keeps winning, will Kelly look back and come back for that fight? I don't know. But there's matchups, obviously we'll get to one in a little bit, but Anthony Fowler's got a bit of a grudge match with Scott Fitzgerald at the end of this month. And then there's talk of the Cheeseman fight, there's been a lot of shit talk between those two for the British title. And then I guess onwards and upwards for Fowler if he wins it. And maybe Cheeseman gets another look at...
Stop bringing Cheeseman into this conversation. He does not belong into this conversation about stardom at all. No.
If they put Cheeseman against Fowler, it's going to be like we were talking about with Silva and Cannonier. This is like they're just going to get him killed.
Cheeseman can't beat arguably top 100 level people. Let's be honest. A fighter that we have not mentioned, but I've seen Lunatic mention him quite a bit in the chat, and I feel like we should mention him, is Josh Taylor. Obviously, his promotional alignment with Cyclone, right?
Yes.
That limits him heavily. I think we can all sort of agree on that. Beside that, though, does he have the necessary ingredients to be a star? Maybe not AJ level star, but could he be a star in some form in the near future?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, if as long as we get this World Boxing Super Series sorted out and finished, and he comes away with it, as a world champion, I think a lot will depend on the Prograis fight. If they manage to meet each other, I believe Prograis, there's been progress as far as him staying in the tournament, and they're looking around for venues for him versus Raylick. I think he's fighting, but yeah, I think Josh Taylor potentially has got everything needed to be a very decent draw. I think he does very well at obviously in his hometown, in Scotland. I mean, at the Hydro Arena. But yeah, I think he could be something very special. Again, he's obviously one division away from one of the glamour divisions in the obviously with 147, the welterweights. But yeah, I think he could do. Like I say, coming off the back of the World Boxing Super Series, if he comes through there still unbeaten, then yeah, we've got a potential, very good ticket seller and draw. And again, I think he talks well. I think he's got a little bit about him, the banter, and he's got almost that sort of bad side, the almost the bad boy inside him, because he's sometimes got quite a lot to say, when it comes to fight week and things like that. So that's what we like. That's what we, people to sell the fight. But
Josh Kelly, Josh Taylor, battle the Joshes in the near future at 147. What do we think, guys?
Well,
that's an O2 headliner, at least.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Imagine, Taylor goes through, goes undisputed at 140, jumps up to 147. You got to think, how much longer is Sean Porter going to fight at 147? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how old he is.
He's making that weight easy. Trust me.
No, but I mean, just in terms of how long is he going to continue
fighting? Period. Fighting.
Yeah.
Period. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Same with Thurman. How long is he going to keep fighting? He doesn't really enjoy it. So you really got Spence, Crawford,
Danny.
If Danny continues, Danny's more goofing off on Instagram and stuff. He's not necessarily super in the mix in 147 for most people.
Hey, he did fight Sean Porter. I mean, he's been more active than some of the guys we were just talking about here, and fighting good competition. He fought twice in 2018. Think about that. That's surprising.
There's definitely a chance a vacant belt comes up or something at 147. Both of those guys are at 147.
Quickly, Gary,
and they meet up.
Gary, obviously in the chat, shouting out, "Don't forget Ugas."
Hey man, I think Ugas is going to give Porter a run for his money
and still lose viciously.
Yeah, but I could see that. I could see that down the road. Those guys fight for a vacant title, or one of them ends up picking up a title. Some weird, changing of the guard there, some fight that just doesn't go someone's way. Hearn makes that fight happen. They pick up a belt off of maybe an easier 147, and then there's a super fight there in the UK for a 147, unification. I could definitely see it happen.
Yeah, because we all know, a lot of UK fighters don't get at these eliminators deservedly. You brought up the UK Lomachenko. Maybe Josh Kelly will turn out to be the Anthony Crolla. But it's yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to, again, it's a bit down the road now. We're gonna have to wait and see which some of these Olympians and all these youngsters coming through, just how far they can go. And like I say, we've had a lot of guys step up in world title fights last year. Maybe we didn't come out on top in too many of them at all. It just sometimes we're a tiny country, can't have all these world champions. It's we're at one point, I think we had 10 not so long ago. Now it's dropped down to I can't even remember now how many world champions we got. But I think it's going to come in flushes, and we'll have to wait and see on how things pan out. But I think we should get on topic because UK hour's already 38 minutes in.
Actually, it's
Sorry.
30. It's 34 minutes going on 35 minutes. Actually, 34 minutes and 54 seconds. So not 38 minutes.
We forgot.
We were late. Remember, we were late to the show. First off. Secondly, we are talking UK boxing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's the other thing.
You want to talk about DeGale Eubanks? You really want to talk about that?
Yeah.
We
Lucas and Thurman. It's great.
We forgot Campbell, Luke Campbell, at 135. Like,
yeah.
I think Luke Campbell is a perennial top 10 guy. You know what I mean? Like, no discredit to him, but I don't think he beats Loma in the near future. I don't think he beats Richard Comey. I don't think
he's going to stop the Lopez hype train.
Stop, man!
Shut that train down.
You are so worried about Teofimo beating Loma. It's sad.
He's got
not that Luke Campbell is not a good competitor. He is, but I think he's probably already hit a ceiling. You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen growth and progress in him in his last few fights. I've seen pretty much the same Luke Campbell in his last couple fights now. And he's, again, very good competitor. He's top 10. He will be top 10 probably for the next 5+ years. But is he going to be a unified champion? No. He might pick up a belt. Might. But it's going to depend on the matchup. He can beat like a Ray Beltran or Pedraza.
Well, he's actually mandatory to Mikey's 135 bout. Well, obviously, we're going to have to wait and see how that pans out. So I guess he'll be thrown in. It might be for a vacant bout. I don't know. That could be Teofimo Lopez. He went off to Mexico to make the case that he deserves a title shot. So we could see Teofimo Lopez versus Luke Campbell for the vacant WBC belt.
And Luke Campbell is going to whoop that guy. It's going to be bad, man. Cannot wait for that.
Yeah, exactly. Luke Campbell's going to shut that train down, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, Matt said he hasn't looked great in the last however many fights, but I think he was absolutely on point against a very come-forward, aggressive Mendy, and he boxed his face off on the back foot and looked great doing it, I thought. He was only a flash knockdown away from that separated him and Linares. I know everything's all discrediting Linares these days, but and that was a week in which he lost his father. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sitting here waving the flag against these.
No, hey, it's UK hour. You wave the flag. This is what this show is for.
I'm waving with you.
And again, like Luke Campbell, fantastic fighter, but I don't think he beats any of the champions.
Olympic gold medalist.
He is. No, like I've said, fantastic fighter. Rob, you do understand, like, I can say a fighter is fantastic and him not be the best guy in the division, right?
No, of course. I'm just...
like, those two things coexist, right?
Oh, right. I'm not saying... I'm just, giving out his credentials. That's all.
I understand his credentials. And those credentials does not mean he's going to beat Mikey Garcia, Lomachenko, Richard Comey, or Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, right.
Hey, but that still makes him top 5. I still think he beats Beltran, Pedraza. I still think he probably beats everyone in this division besides those 4 guys.
What about if he learns how to do a Fortnite dance?
Oh, my God. Whoa, it's different now.
Yeah, I've just changed the ballpark, right?
I've totally changed the ballpark. Oh, my God. Luke Campbell, just one Fortnite dance, you're going to beat Loma easy. Come on.
I really hope Campbell boxes Teofimo Lopez's head off and then does the...
Fuck, I do too.
Yeah, it does the floss, taking the owl, the backflip, and then
Rob,
hitting him out the park.
Rob, I know you're in defend Campbell mode, but can we be in make fun of Fugatti mode right now just for a split second? Because he is obviously so on the bandwagon now of, I hate Lopez. I want him to lose his next fight because he knows that guy's coming for Loma's head. It's okay, Fu. It's okay.
I just want to go on record. I don't dislike Teofimo Lopez. I just obviously rooting for Luke Campbell in this mysteriously made fight that we've come up with. But
it's not mysterious. They're the ones saying it. It might happen.
Yeah.
It actually might happen.
It could happen. I just mean we have literally just made it happen, and I've even done Luke Campbell celebrating.
Well, it is kind of a Loma moment for me, but I actually do really like Luke Campbell a lot.
He is good. Yeah. Doesn't beat Teofimo, but anyways, digressing. Obviously, Rob wants to talk about his boy DeGale or his boy Eubank. I don't know which one's his boy this time.
You don't know which one's my boy.
I don't know
if any of them are my boy.
I know what. I'll be honest. If I had to pick, I think DeGale's your man.
That's like a Bellator fight.
Yo, that's so messed up.
Right.
And
I'm
look,
gonna have to put a no. Wait.
I'm sorry. It's your show. It's your show. I'm sorry.
We're bringing up fucking US fighters, and now we're bringing up fucking MMA. What's going on? UK Hour is not about either of those things.
If only we had like the soundbite. What the fuck's going on here?
What the fuck's going on here? But no, you know, this fight when it got announced and it was pay-per-view, I'm like, yeah, skip me with that. I ain't.
Yo, is Rob about to say he's gonna buy it? That's what it sounds like he's about to say.
He's definitely
gonna buy it now.
No, not necessarily. If you say there's no live fight chat for DeGale Eubank, then I am gonna buy it.
You're
I'd
not.
rather do a live
wait,
fight chat for Eubank's father dancing to fucking.
Yo, your obsession with Eubank Senior, man, is something I'm concerned about it.
Yeah, I was thinking he was going to say with a pole and a bottle of grease.
Yeah, man.
No, to the whatever, kumbaya, my lord.
Yeah,
Boy,
that was spooky.
That was weird.
Fu, you know you loved it with your love affair with Chris Eubank Senior.
Gary, just so you know, Fu was doing a lot of strange Eubank Senior love in our group chat.
It was not love.
And then he called you for dinner.
And we made fun of him mercilessly on the chat. It was great. I think Fu is just obsessed with Eubank because of his sense of style. I think if Fu could dress like Chris Eubank and get away with it, he would.
Well, I mean, dude, I think a lot of people would.
Oh, of course.
I mean,
not the shoes. Like, I don't like his shoes most of the time because he wears like the Mayweather boots, you know, like those high, like knee-high boots. I don't like that. But like his coat, like his suits are nice. I will give him that.
Did you see Fowler? Fowler posted something about Eubank Senior and was like, "This guy's really fucking weird." Basically.
Yeah, no, he's without thinking it as you thought it was. He is eccentric. He is a crazy guy. He's he's been very different. I mean, you go back to his even his fighting days, you know, the posture, the arrogance, you know, I can remember my mum we were watching Eubank fights and my mum was like, look at that fucking prick. Like, she didn't like it, whereas I'm like, yeah, you've got to have that if you're a fight, you know, you've got to have a bit of, you know, like Prince Nassim, she was always like, oh, look at him. And I'm like, yeah, look at him, he's awesome. You know?
Yeah, look at him, Mom, he's awesome, isn't he?
Yeah, but yeah, the Eubank. So going back to my boy, which one my boy is, I maybe would be my boy is DeGale a little bit because they're just a little bit different in a not selling it to me kind of way, you know. But don't get me wrong, Eubank
Jr. I've interviewed him before, right? So I've had the pleasure, especially I interviewed him without his dad being around, right? So that was kind of cool. He was in the Mayweather gym. And I think, it was the Mayweather-McGregor media day, right? And him and Tabiti were off in the corner working together, right? And nobody knew who they were. Or if they did, they weren't focusing on them because Mayweather was coming in, you know, an hour and a half late and making us all stay in the sweaty gym with 100+ media members, right? Awful.
Mayweather was late.
Oh, yeah. So I went and interviewed Eubank, right? And honestly, he was, like, super nice, like, personable, like definitely one of those guys that seemed, I'm gonna use this term and it's gonna be crazy because I'm using it with the name Eubank in the same sentence. He kind of seemed down to earth, and it was weird because again you see him so much around his dad and so much around the build up to a fight that you can tell it's an act, right? You can tell it's, especially for Junior. Senior's that dude, right? He's going to be that dude. Junior acts that way, right? You can tell he's acting in the more of the negative connotation of that word. But being around him when he was more, again, personable, more down to earth, not around his dad, not the focus of all the attention in the gym, he was a cool guy that was like joking, smiling, laughing around. Like him and Tabiti looked like they were just, you know, having a good time together. Like honestly, like it made me like Eubank as a person. I know that might be shocking, but DeGale has been, I mean, he's been like Mr. Rocky, I feel like, in his entire career in a weird way, even with the gold medal, right? He loses to Groves, and that, I think, derailed his career in a large way. And then he has war after war in the U.S. A lot of those fights are controversial. Like, he's getting beat up in the process. The Badou Jack fight, the Porky Medina fight, the Andre Terrell fight. You can't help but, I think, like DeGale as a person. He seems like, again, Rocky is probably a negative term to use for a guy that won the gold medal, but he has that Rocky vibe where he had that early loss in his career, has some tough fights, has been beat up, but yet is always a fun fighter, always puts on good performances, and also another sort of personable, down-to-earth seeming guy. I don't know where that was coming from and where that rant came from, but I like both guys. I'm kind of sad that I have to see one of them lose.
And what is your pick for this fight, Matt?
I'm picking Eubank.
All right. Well,
Picking Eubank.
what about you? What's your thoughts on this fight?
You didn't want me to break it down. That's cool. I'll just go to Fugatti.
All right,
No. Go to Fugatti.
All right, then we'll come back to you.
Hold on. Sorry. Let me get a joke off. Look at Rob with the A mic skill right there. I like it, Rob.
A-mic.
The A mic. Whoa. Okay.
Fucking Joshua comes here, takes New York, and now Rob's taking over the A mic.
Yo, where's my beat? Where's my beat?
I'm from the UK. No.
I used to Range Rover. Now I drive a Jaguar.
Come on, Rob. Where's your fire 8?
Fire in the booth.
Fire in the booth.
Anyway, let's not do that.
Man, I want Eubank to win, mainly because I think it sets up a lot of other fights. And then 168 could get a little more fun. Especially if Billy Joe Saunders really is going to campaign at 168. I think there's some good fights there that if some people start to have some good wins, you could get some momentum at 168. But I like DeGale. I mean, I don't know. Where's he going to go from here, though, if he wins? That's the thing with me. I just don't like fights that end and aren't going to go to something else, aren't going to progress to something different,
Well, Uncle Al apparently has promised him a world title fight.
Against who, though?
Quickly, before you answer that, Rob, a fight that this makes me reminded of is a recent fight is like the Omar Figueroa or John Molina Jr. fight. Where it's like, yeah, it's probably going to be a really fun fight. Like I don't see how a DeGale Eubank fight is not entertaining. But like you said, Fu, it doesn't lead to anywhere. Like the winner of this fight, I don't think is going to take over 168. I think they're borderline top 10. Borderline. So it's a good matchup. It's an even matchup. It's a competitive matchup. It's a fun fight, but with no stakes at all. And you have to pay $25 in the UK, which Rob would pay for.
And who's he going to fight for a belt, Rob?
I don't know. Ask Uncle Al. That's what's been said. Apparently, that came out a part of DeGale being linked up now with this ITV, and obviously he's been with Al anyway. But
David,
that was
sorry, David Benavidez. He's a champion recess, right? I believe.
Mm-hmm.
They have an interim champ or title fight, I think, coming up, right? Don't they? For the WBC?
I think you might be right. Potential in will tell us if
I'll be honest. That whole situation was fucked up because of that stupid cocaine shit. But like David Benavidez, like if Eubank or DeGale wins, get a David Benavidez fight probably.
I guess what I mean is like DeGale seems like someone who's like getting out of the sport, and usually that's you want like a super fight, and there's not. Callum Smith isn't a big money fight, David Benavidez is not a big money fight. It's like a tough fight where he's not going to get paid a shit ton of money, and he's going to get beat the fuck up,
I think a Billy Joe.
What I mean.
I think a Billy Joe Saunders or a Callum Smith fight produces money for him. Maybe it's not quote big money, but relative to what his purse would be if he wasn't fighting them, it is big money. Like he might make 7 figures with a Billy Joe Saunders or Callum Smith.
Can you see potentially, as there was beef, I believe, at the weigh-in for Truax, Caleb Plant and DeGale, if DeGale comes through this? There's like story kind of already.
What's the
about
question?
he vacated though, right? So I don't know if the IBF will be that favorable.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the question specifically? Would I like the fight? Will that fight produce?
Could you see that fight being made?
Yeah, I could. And I would actually like it. Like again, Caleb Plant, he's at this point now where he's just breaking through, right? He just got the big fight against Uzgatki and he won it. Now he needs to sort of like strengthen up and beefing up that resume that's still very new and very raw. So yeah, a DeGale Eubank winner, I would love that for Caleb Plant. I think it makes a lot of sense career-wise for Caleb Plant. Maybe not so much for DeGale Eubank. If I'm one of them, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, that's the fight I'm angling for. But if those fights aren't available, David Benavidez would be next, and then probably Caleb Plant after that.
I mean, Billy Joe was asked, obviously, because he's now going up to 168 for this WBO bout. He was asked about Chris Eubank Jr. and he said, you know, yeah, it would be about me giving him another opportunity. You know, I would have the fight, but it'll be on my terms and when I say, typical Billy Joe stuff, right? But interestingly, look, I'm going to do it now because you started all this trend of bringing up American fighters. But Andrade said he will chase Billy Joe up to 168 and go and take that WBA BO bout as well. But and very quick, I just want to get your thoughts on: do you think Eubank Jr. would be best served at 160 instead of 168?
I've gone back and forth about this. I think 160 is obviously the bigger fights, right? But obviously the deeper, harder division, right? Like, so could Eubank get the bigger fights for bigger paycheck at 160? Yes. Will his weight / size, XY axis would be more optimal at 160? Absolutely. But also, I think he loses more of those fights at 160. Like, I think if Eubank again figures it out, I think if he fixes his technique, because that is still a major issue. It's just technical flaws. He is still a very raw commodity. If he were to still sharpen that up, 168 is an easier division for him to tap into and get a belt. It just is.
Because he's clearly a tough kid. He's very tough. He's very durable. He can take a hell of a lot of, shots and stuff. He seems he's got a big heart, but when he stepped up, he's fallen short. And interestingly, Eubank Sr. was asked about the Saunders fight, and he was all like, how can you give up that lead? How can you, there's flaws. He's very brutally honest sometimes, and you think when you hear these interviews with Senior, you're like, I hope fucking Junior's not listening. Jesus, you might not have a son by the end of this interview. Jesus Christ, he goes real in sometimes, and you're like, well, but
they have a weird relationship.
I think so, yeah. Interestingly, obviously, Eubank's got a trainer this time around, and he was asked, are you going to listen to the trainer? Because you've got a real habit of not. And he said, I will try. So
I will try.
Wow.
Yeah, I will do my best to listen to my trainer, but I'm very instinctive. I'm very in the moment. I do my thing, this, that, and the other. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm going to maybe lean to a DeGale points victory.
It's probably the safe bet.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Part of me, because, Eubank, when you see him in the gym, you think, well, a complete workaholic, trains and trains and trains and trains and trains. But it's like,
and then quickly you see DeGale lose to Caleb Truax, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, and then literally scrape through the return match and
barely won that. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that was brutal as well. But I don't know. I think to me, Eubank Jr. is kind of like, you're really good. I'm gonna have to say it in case American, but soccer player, just so there's no confusion, that can do all the flicks and tricks, the million keepy uppies, football juggling and all that.
Wait, football or soccer? Wait, which one? Sorry, you confused me.
Soccer, whatever, yeah. But when it comes to an actual game of soccer, that shit doesn't mean anything, So he's got all the tricks, can do fucking 15 punches in like 2 seconds on that bag on the wall and stuff. But are you really going to do that in a fight? No. Are you going to do that in a fight? No. So it's all good, looking slick and having all the skills. But you know, when he met George Groves, it didn't matter a fuck. You know, he got ironed. So
for the sake of time, let's try to wrap up this because we went on like for very long about the whole Joshua. Who's the next Joshua? Fu, your pick, your prediction, your breakdown of Eubank DeGale.
I think if we get the right Eubank, he'll win a decision over DeGale. I just think the Caleb Truax fight, the last DeGale fight, like he's looked rough. I think Eubank Jr. needs a big win. He needs to look like he's on the right path. I mean, and he's just, I think his heart's just probably going to be in it more because DeGale, realistically, DeGale wants out. I don't think that there's any, I mean, like no one here thinks DeGale is like wanting to be a major player in boxing for the next 2-3 years, right? Like, I think he just wants to get out. And it's a good fight. Nah, I'll take Eubank. Unanimous decision, maybe a majority decision. I think it's going to be a close fight. I don't think you could pick wrong. You know,
when you said if we get the right Eubank, I was thinking, what do you think if we get Senior?
Senior would whoop his ass.
But yeah,
let's discuss the undercard briefly, just because. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious who we're going to pick in these undercard fights. Joe Joyce versus Bermain Stavern in the co-main event. I mean, Joe Joyce should win this one by knockout, within 6, I'm saying. I'm being probably generous at that point, but within 6 is what I'm thinking. Also, Lee Selby versus Omar Douglas, a fight that I actually am really looking forward to. Lee Selby's comeback fight since the Josh Warrington fight is not an easy one. Omar Figueroa, even though I think a lot of people... What was that?
Omar Douglas.
Sorry, I said Figueroa. Sorry, Omar Douglas. Omar. I think a lot of people discounted him since the Edner Cherry loss. But go back and watch Javier Fortuna and him in that fight. Javier Fortuna versus Omar Douglas was perhaps, I think it was 2016? Yeah, 2016. Was arguably fight of the year. I remember doing like end of the year wrap up content, which reminds me we still need to do 2018's end of the year award show. By the way, it's in March. Oh my God,
we'll get there.
We'll get there eventually. I just keep flip flopping on how I want to do it. Anyways, Omar Douglas, fantastic fighter, all action guy. Lee Selby, a technician. I like the style matchup. Lee Selby should win this one, but a fight that should be competitive and interesting to see how the styles play out. Rob, your thought on the undercard, and then Fu after Rob.
Yeah, I think, Stavern, if there's a slightly, in any way, shape or form, a slightly more motivated Stavern than the last Stavern that we saw, maybe he can make it a little bit more competitive. He had plenty to say at the press conference today, going at Joyce's manager. There was a whole screaming match. Not today, sorry, yesterday. But a whole shouting match, and he got up, and there was Don King's representative there was in the back doing his mini-me impression, like yeah, really going for it. But I think Joyce, he's hell of an engine. I think he's one of those punchers that it's maybe not that, real snappy punching, but it's that heavy sort. I don't know if I'm sort of explaining this right,
Triple
but
G
those heavy.
Power. It's like Triple G's power. It's like thudding shots.
Thudding, yeah, just to the bone kind of thing. Like, oh shit, like body shot. Like, oh goddamn. And I see Joyce coming through this. Interestingly, we heard Abel Sanchez said he's the one that put off the Joyce versus Luis Ortiz fight, saying that Joyce wasn't ready for that fight yet. But but Joyce is insistent that he wants that by the end of the year against Luis Ortiz. So we'll see on that one. But yeah, Lee Selby stepping up. I think this is going to be quite could be a stiff test, you know, for his first fight moving up. Yeah, that potentially is you know, a real good fight on the card, but I still don't think it's making me pay for it unless we're doing live fight chats. But yeah, you know, PBC's introduction to the UK. Yeah, I think it's a shame that it's landed on pay-per-view. This could have been, you know, free on like ITV2 or something like that. I think we're not going to get, although it would be great for boxing, but we're not going to get anything on ITV1 because on your Saturday night, that's your X Factors, that's your Britain's Got Talent, that's, you know, these mainstream like big views, and we're not going to get any kind of major boxing on ITV1. But yeah, just a shame that this has been asked people to pay for this rather than getting it on the one of the free channels. But yep, sort of fun card, I think, and some decent matchups.
Fu?
Yeah, I'm taking Joyce over Stavern, obviously. I think within 6 is probably a good bet. I think I don't think Joyce has had many fights go past, you know, 5 rounds anyways. Like that scary power. But like you said, kind of like I was thinking of just like a funny comparison. There's those movies where like a guy throws a punch and then it's like, you know, 5-6 scenes later the punch lands. Like that's how I feel like every time Joyce throws a punch, right? It's like so slow and telegraphed, but he still wins the fights. He still knocks people out, you know. And Selby, you know, moving up 130 now, right? 126 to 130. He's 130 now. I mean, what does Selby do if he loses this fight? That's what I think is more to me. I'm picking Selby, but if he loses, I mean, where does he go from there? I don't know. Like, you know, after he was supposed to beat Warrington, you know,
he wasn't supposed to beat Warrington. Right? No, actually,
I mean,
no, he was.
Right.
No, he was. You're right.
He didn't do weight very well, and Warrington took full advantage of that, and it's been, you know, the confidence boost to become, well, you know, they say it adds an extra whatever percentage when you become a world champion, and he's obviously got now Frampton on his record. I guess a lot of people will think he's going to go through Galahad, and then it's on to a unification, I think, with one of the other bout holders. So
I agree. Let's go to a caller. Let's go to Gary in Dallas. He's been on the line for like 30+ minutes. I feel bad. Even though we do have a couple more topics we do want to get to. Gary in Dallas, what's up, man?
No, I don't feel bad. I'm just listening. So, you know, there's no rush to get to me.
It's okay. You're a patron, man. It's okay. I can go to you.
I had 2 questions for Rob, real quick. When you guys were talking about the next UK fighter to sell out Wembley, you guys mentioned Josh Taylor, right? What if you guys brought over Virgil Ortiz to fight Josh Taylor at Wembley? Would that sell out Wembley, or would you guys not want to see Josh Taylor get brutally knocked out like that?
For a start, I'm not sure who you're talking about. Is that some American prospect? No, I'm only joking. Isn't he touted? He's going to be on the Canelo undercard, right? Canelo Jacobs. I was reading. I
would imagine so. I don't know for sure. I would think so.
Yeah, I think I saw something, Virgil Ortiz, but he's more than welcome to come over and you know, disappoint the American public.
Okay, and then my other question.
Yes.
I just read this. Anthony Joshua has an OBE next to his name. Is that for real, or is that just like a joke?
OBE, MBE.
OBE, MBE, OBE, right? Is that true? Does he have an OBE?
Yeah, I believe he got the OBE, which is an Order of the British Empire medal from the Queen for basically if over here, if you win an Olympic medal, if you like get a gold, there's quite a good chance that you're going to get in the Queen's like honors list, and you'll be presented over the next sort of 6 months to a year with an honor from the Queen for doing that. And then the MBE, which is a member of the British Empire, just basically for I guess what he's done for British boxing and stuff was kind of the, what he's done for sport on the I guess
But
the British one.
It's commonplace to give it to athletes. I thought it was to people who like cured cancer and wrote Nobel laureates and things like that. I didn't know it went to athletes, but it's
we look, Gary, just so you know.
Wait, hold on. Where are all these people that cured cancer getting medals?
I know. I know what he means. People that, in a lot of people's eyes, they actually deserve special mentions. But just so you know, Gary, my sister has actually got an OBE. Sorry, MBE.
It's not as prestigious as it sounds.
Say again?
I said it's not that prestigious like lots of people get them.
No, look, there's a bunch of people get them. I think there's 2 honors lists done in the year. They get the New Year's honors list, and then I think it's around the Queen's birthday that they do like people get them if they're nominated. So, like in my sister's example, she's done a whole lot of work for. She wants to make sure kids in schools are taught about what happened during the Holocaust and bring like awareness to genocide around the world and human rights kind of things. And she's been recognized for that. And that's people in her circles or profession that have actually put her name forward. And she was presented with that last year or the year before. But I know there's a big argument. A lot of people go, oh, wait, so he got that just because he's good at boxing, and he got that because he's good at this. But and that's a fair comment. We've just had he was the captain of the England cricket team, and he got it because he's good at cricket. It's like, is that really important?
Well, I think about it this way, Gary. Just sort of try to explain to Gary. Imagine if like when the president invites like championship winners like from sport teams, or like scientists or celebrities, like when he invites them over to the White House, right? Whatever president, whatever administration, they've all done this, right? Imagine if all those people just got an award just for showing up, because they got invited.
Yeah, no.
That's how I sort of view it.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was something like there was like one given out every year or something like that. Like, and they gave it to Anthony John. I didn't. I thought it was like much more
like a Nobel Peace Prize.
More prestigious. Yeah, something like that. Like it was a very limited thing that like very very select. Okay.
Well, let me tell you, when we went for my sister's one, I think hers was one of how many were there? About 80 awards that day, and this is spread over the space of 6 months, where people are coming. But like I say, it's everything. There was a really frail old lady there that was presented it, and it was during her time campaigning for like the coal miners about being on like
with the black lung and shit.
Yeah, and then there's like teachers, there's people from medical professions, people in the police force that have done something, great, or fire service. There was Ray Davies from the Kinks got his knighthood when I was there. Just it's across all fields, all genres, everything, and it's not as like you think, maybe like as rare or as prestigious. I mean, it's a presentation from the royal family. It's special, but Joshua's not like the only one that got it that year. So
yeah, there's degrees of how special it is and how special things are. Nobel Peace Prize, highly up there. This is still up there, because to be recognized by your country in any form, I think would be pretty significant. But I think there is a U.S. comparison, but I'm just forgetting what the name is.
We need one for MCR.
That's true. Yes, Rob, you're fucking up here, man.
I was gonna ask Robbie. Robbie, are you gonna get one for MCR? Are you gonna get an OBE for your work on MCR?
For contributions to flag waving and anti-American relations.
Yo, man, you've been defending the UK more than anyone.
I think the real question is, Neil gonna get one for squirting water? Name redacted. Does he get an OBE when he goes home?
He gets an MB.
He could be Sir Neil.
Sir
Neil
Neil.
He gets fucking knighted.
Of Waterville.
And it was nice of them to give Anthony Joshua a gold medal after he lost in the gold medal round to the Italian anyway. Just give him the gold medal anyway. So that was
wow.
They gave him the OBE too. So that's a double. They gave him a gold medal after he lost, and they gave him an OBE getting the gold medal.
Was it equally as nice when...
I feel discouraged.
Damn, savage, Gary, savage.
So,
was it equally as nice when Joe Joyce was robbed of his gold medal?
Say what?
The only reason, Anthony Joshua lost to Clemente Russo. My mom is from Italy, so like I kind of, when there's no American, I root for the Italian. That's the only reason why I remember that fight. And I remember because Clemente Russo also beat Deontay Wilder the Olympics before, and Usyk. And I just remember that was. I remember watching that fight and thinking that Russo won, and they gave it to Anthony Joshua. But again, that was
who
the
the fuck is that guy?
I will say this though, Gary being Italian makes so much fucking sense now. Like it makes so much sense, man. Oh my god.
That's why we had a really nice coffee together.
Yo, that's why Gary can talk for so long. Gary can talk for so long because he's Italian. I've been friends with Italians, man. Oh my god, my baby mother's half Italian or something like that. Like, yeah, you guys are nuts. God bless you.
Gary has the volume though.
Yeah, Gary's not a loud Italian. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, he's got the loudness from his American roots.
I was gonna say that when we were having coffee, Gary was a UK flag waver. I mean, I think he just tries to play it off in the calls, but 100% UK stand.
I can sense it. It's always a question for Rob.
Who the fuck is that guy?
I'm a UK flag waver?
Apparently, they're accusing you of that, Gary.
I'm just playing.
You are an AJ fanboy on the low, Gary. We do know that.
I do like AJ, even though he lost in the gold medal round to Clemente Russo. I still respect him. He fought hard. He almost pulled it out.
Look, Gary's found an Italian boxer that he can get behind. All right, give him that moment. Give him his moment.
Hey, match from Italy started, man. That's why Gary loves Eddie so much.
Is there? I don't like Eddie at all, but is there a match from Italy?
Yeah, they just started that, and I think they're launching a DAZN series for that, I believe.
They're gonna have Fury fight Italy's #1
Pineta 5 times.
Okay, is that part of our package? Do we get the the zone Italy package?
I believe
Is that part
so.
of what we get?
I believe so. I forget how many events they're going to put on this year. I think it's like 6 or 8. Like it's not a lot, but I think they're putting on a handful of events in Italy with Italian boxers.
If not, just watch a regular DAZN card and go have some spaghetti. It'll be similar.
God damn!
Matt, if I give you an Italian fighter, a welterweight, will you go watch him on YouTube? If I give you his name, he's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
You could just watch a normal card and say, "Mamma mia, di card shit."
His first name is Alessandro with S's, like Alexandro, but Alessandro with
Yes.
S's. And then the last name is Rigaccini. I'll spell it for you. It's RIGUCCINI.
Gary, I'm being completely honest. I am going to BoxRec right now and just going to Italy and just going to be scrolling down and looking for a name that looks like that.
Okay, 1 to 50 all look the same.
Hold on, I'm looking for Italy in the country list. Dude, that's crazy that BoxRec can do this.
How did Thurman do in the Olympics?
I don't think Thurman went to the Olympics.
I think he was injured.
Thurman lost to Andrade in the trials.
That's right.
Oh,
wasn't Andrade in the was it the Gary Russell year when they all went? Was it Gary Russell?
We're talking about these bums for.
Was that 2012? Was that London as well?
Oh, you think you can throw London in there and it's good?
No,
good sport.
Errol Spence was 2012. Errol Spence and Jojo Diaz. I guess Rasheed Warren was on all the teams.
Was he really? Damn. Rasheed Warren must enter this
Rasheed Warren
pros
was on
late.
like 3 or 4 Olympic teams. Yeah, he was on a lot of Olympic teams.
Damn.
This is fascinating stuff for the UK.
I'm trying to look for fucking Italy, okay, man?
Yeah, exactly.
Where is it? I'm trying to remember where the I goes in the fucking alphabet. Found it.
Oh,
Potential
Italian
lunatic
fighters.
says
Joe
22-0 and
Calzaghe
number
was an Italian
63 in the
fighter.
division.
Joe Calzaghe is not Italian. Stop. He's
Yes,
half.
he was. He was an Italian guy who lived in Wales. And he
Lennox Lewis was a Canadian guy living in the UK.
He's definitely Canadian.
He's definitely Canadian. He better stop taking shots at Joshua.
Get him, Foo.
Hold on, very quickly, just because you mentioned that. Did anyone else hear the AJ subliminal directed towards Lennox Lewis?
No, you gotta roll this back. Dude, we gotta do a whole breakdown of the freestyle.
Gary, I'm gonna mute you just for a second, okay? I forget if this was where it was in the press conference, but AJ was like, "There's a few things I want to do with my career, right? One of them is when I'm a older fighter, when I'm a veteran, I uplift the younger guys. I uplift the guys that want to break my records, right?
Yeah.
I won't push them down." And no one was like, "Oh, Lennox Lewis, Lennox Lewis." No one thought that. Anyways, back to you, Gary.
Fu said when you said about the subliminals, he thought there was something in the diss track.
Dang, I thought we were going straight to the freestyle.
I'm gonna have to take care of this. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, bye. Thank
Later,
you,
man.
Gary. But yeah, I love that subliminal by AJ. That was good. Also, by the way, the Alessandro Rugaccini. I'm not Italian.
Chini, I think it's Chini.
Rigaccini, whatever. He is the number 1 ranked Italian welterweight in the world.
Yeah, Fu told you potential lunatic already did it.
But I would say, shut up. I wasn't looking, okay? The guy, hey, let me finish. God, Rob, okay, relax. Italy's close enough to the UK. The guy is 30 years old, 22-0 with 18 knockouts, and he's 5'6". This guy ain't it, Gary. I'm just telling. I'm looking at his picture right now. He looks like he fishes. You know what I mean?
Gonna lay Amir Khan smooth out.
No. I might pick Amir Khan against Alessandro Rigaccini.
I don't like this UK hour right now.
I feel like we've been very like anti-Italians in this entire show. I like it. Anyways, digressing.
UK hour has been great. What do you want to talk about, Rob? We've talked James DeGale, Eubank. Let's go to the matchroom card.
You want the Jordan Gill hard hitting shit?
Do you want to do that like fight week? Because you guys love your hip hop. I want your review of AJ on Sway dropping his bars.
Look, I wish I can play it. I wish I can play it, but I don't want the copyright.
We can't play it?
No, that beat's copyright. I guarantee it.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's on our Instagram, so hopefully.
Well, that's different. You know how it works.
Oh, okay.
You know how like social media copyright's different. Come on, you know that. Okay. Because when you post something on Instagram, you don't say when you post it like on YouTube, "This is my intellectual property."
Yeah.
You know, like these are everything I'm showing right now. I have rights to, allegedly. Anyways, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought the beginning was a little bit rough. I'll be honest. Like he did, the flow wasn't really on beat at first, but
he wanted more volume in his mic. You could see he was.
But everyone says that. Turn my mic up. Turn me up my headphones.
Headphones.
But once I forget, he tried to go really fast with like 3 big words in a row, and he failed. But right after that, he was on point going forward, I felt like. And I thought he did decent. And again, look, most athletes suck at rapping. Very few are good. Very few are like Damian Lillard or Iman Shumpert, who are like all-star basketball athletes that can actually go and produce a rap album. Adrian Broner, trash. Tyron Woodley, trash.
Roy Jones, trash.
Yo, stop. That's actually too far. But AJ, I'm not saying he can go make a rap album because he can't. But that was better than most.
I'm very quick. most rappers are fucking trash at boxing as well.
Well, of course.
Exactly.
Oh, of course.
Just saying, it's amazing. I used to have.
Well, all athletes want to be musicians, and all musicians want to be athletes. You know that.
It's always the other way, right? Athletes want to be rock stars, and rock stars want to be like soccer players, or whatever. There used to be, there still is a show, Soccer AM, and they always have music bands on, and obviously football players. And
in the US,
they get on so well, and it's like, oh, I'd love to do what you do. You can see it. Like, I want to be like you. No, I want to be like. I'm a rock star because I failed at soccer. I wasn't quite good enough.
In the US, it's like basketball players or NFL players, and then rappers. Like that would be what the US comparison is, and it definitely is an aspect of they are the entertainers of the entertainers. Like who goes and gets courtside seats at basketball games? It's rappers. Who goes and gets box seats at the big stadium game for Championship League or Premier League? It's the rock stars. It's going to be Elton John. It's going to be all the legends of rock, right? Like it's going to be that. And vice versa, who's going to be in either VIP in the back with the rock stars or the rappers? It's the athletes. Guaranteed every time. It's the entertainers of the entertainers. It's that dynamic. But I don't know how we got on that subject or where we're going to go next.
AJ's rap.
Oh, AJ's rap. I liked it. Yes. Fu, your thoughts on it?
I mean, it was good. He's rapped a few times now. I think it's obviously something that he enjoys. It seems like even when he's on vacation, he's always like got a mic in his hand doing something, like when he was in Jamaica or whatever. So I mean, it was
all right.
As good as any athlete's gonna do in that environment, right? The second half was definitely better than the first, but I just saw like every American shitting on it today, like on every little chat group. It's like, oh, my ears, this is fucking terrible. It's like, dude, come on.
Well, I mean, because compared to rap, it's not good, of course, right? Like, well, of course it isn't. Like, you try to get Fugatti up there in a major radio station and try to play to a major rock song. Fugatti's going to sound like trash, guaranteed. Even though you can play the guitar a little bit and sing a little bit, Rob, I don't know what the equivalent would be for you, like to go to like a hairstylist and pretend you have hair. I don't know.
Oh, shit.
What even is that, Matt? What did I do?
Hashtag boxing banter.
What did I do?
I was like, what did I do to deserve this treatment?
I don't know. It just came to me. I'm like, I can't let this one slip. It's a good one.
Harsh.
I'm letting it slide.
Harsh.
I love you.
No, you don't. Clearly. I mean, look, he was on there, and I knew it was probably going to get some flack off Americans, and they're like, course. "Oh, what's he going to do? Bring this out as a single, or Eddie Hearn's going to fucking promote this and give it?" But I guess maybe there's a hint of jealousy. Obviously there's not many words that rhyme with mind-boggling, and frustrated is difficult to work with. I don't know. It's I thought he'd done good. Like you say, it was a little bit broken up at the start, but kind of got into it a bit better, and there was certain bits I liked how he. See, I'm not going to go into like I'm some hip hop connoisseur, but I've heard things from watching other things. But like his phrasing changed even a couple of times. Or
his rhyme scheme.
Yeah. There was like a couple of bits, and I was like, oh, this is it's decent for an athlete or a boxer sat there, on live radio, and he delivered an all right thing, and it was pretty good. And obviously it's gone semi-boxing viral, I guess, because it's Joshua and he's appearing on there, and props to him, fair play. He might have gained a few people from that, but he may have got like, I think a lot of Americans have been more like, good on him. He showed us something in the press conference, and then he went and done a rap on Sway, and it's probably ruined what he did in the like. Oh, he was doing so well, but it is what it is. He done his thing, so it's all right. But I mean, I don't know. Obviously, Fu just told me like Americans kind of shit all over it, but I don't know.
Well, that's because Americans shit on AJ. Like, I'll put this right: the Americans that Fu is seeing on his timeline.
Well, yeah,
that is a very microcosm of boxing fan base in the U.S.
Yeah. But I just wonder, it'd be nice to know sort of a more broad feeling of just how Joshua, because he's been on this little mini media circuit, just how it's being sort of received, or
I think it's been received well. I think it's been received
I
well.
think people really like AJ. I think
U.S. fans like AJ. Like, if the reason you don't like AJ, I'll put it this way: the people that don't like AJ as like the U.S. fans that really don't like him, that are on boxing YouTube comment sections complaining about him, are more than likely actually complaining about Eddie Hearn. From the look of it, to me, I think if AJ was completely divorced of Eddie Hearn and was his own man, and he was just doing a media circuit, he was making fights, he was AJ boxing, I don't think anyone would really care. Like, and not, I mean, cares in like a negative way. Like, no one would really be up in arms about anything. And also, the people that are gonna hate that freestyle also don't like AJ. So, I mean, they're inclined to think that.
I tend to agree, because you got Eddie Hearn kind of like...
All you motherfuckers out there, you better be shitting yourself, because I've got more energy, more desire than ever before, and I'm going to annoy you, and I'm going to live in your head rent-free for 365 days, motherfuckers. But you commit to me, and you get a piece of my heart, and you get my commitment, I'm going to make you a star, motherfucker.
We have way too many Eddie Hearn sound bites. I just realized that, but totally worth it.
But that's exactly why, because he does too many. He's got too many things that we can clip and go, oh, that's cool. That's Eddie Hearn. That's kind of funny. We can use that. And there's a certain section of the American public that do not like Eddie Hearn when he's when he's in front of the camera, because of the stuff he says. He knows what he's doing, and yeah, he pushes buttons.
Absolutely.
And to a degree, he's doing that sometimes, I think, to take away, any shtick that Joshua's getting, or it's like, aim it at me,
Of course.
I'm the bad guy.
That's the promoter's job, like, at the end of the day, especially a good promoter, right?
Look, AJ at the end of a fight, he grabs the mic, all cheers, happy days. Right, if we could just grab a word with Eddie Hearn, boo! The whole place is just lit up. Boo! He's the pantomime villain, and he's, people even here like, oh, fucking Eddie Hearn, or whatever. But
I think there's a reason for that.
For me, obviously, I can't pick my family. It's just how it is.
I think boxing is still very much an old guard sport when it comes to the business side of the sport, and Eddie Hearn represents this whole different thing. This like very engaged in social media, very much friendly with interviews with YouTube channels, like talks about how like all of this helps the boxing world. And
he acts like a modern promoter.
Exactly. And all the like Shelly Finkel's never going to do that. Like, it's not out doing interviews, engaging people on Twitter.
I will say this, Shelly, he's doing a lot of YouTube interviews. Like, I will give him that. Like, I not before Eddie, but I think because of Eddie, the entire industry has moved towards a more modern time. It has. I think that it's harder to say nowadays that these other promoters haven't caught up to what Eddie and Matchroom have been doing social media wise. They are. Look at Top Rank. Top Rank social media has been doing a fantastic job as of late. PBC has, I think, done a fantastic job on social media. So, yeah, they have. As of late, like PBC on Fox, do you follow their Twitter account, Rob? If you don't,
I do. Yeah,
I mean, they promote everything, Showtime events, everything that's PBC under the sun, man. I'm telling you, Eddie has been a positive force in boxing. He has pushed all of everything modern.
I think he's put some wind back behind some sails. I think he's
yes.
He said recently, like, no one's going to outwork me. No one is going to look. Eddie is in every state, every country. I don't know when he sees his fucking kids and his wife.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. But he is putting in some serious work at the moment, and I know the DAZN thing is a big passion for him right now, and really trying to get that up and running. Because I feel like since he said we're coming or we're taking over America, he's since found that's not maybe going to be as easy as I thought, and even because of some kind of resistance, because of what he said, because he is Eddie Hearn. because of what's happened, he's met almost a bit of a brick wall with it, but he's not going to, obviously at the moment, let it defeat him, and it seems up for the challenge. He's there's no sign of like, oh, do you know what, this is too much, I can't do this. He's obviously still putting up a hell of a front and going at it and really trying to create waves. So I mean, shout out to him, and like you say, he seems to have put some wind back in the sails of like boxing, and I think people have realized we better up our game, because although he hasn't signed these big American superstars, he hasn't done this, his ticket sales at the moment aren't fantastic. He's going to fucking Mulvane, Kansas, like whoop-de-doo, but he's got some energy behind him, so let's try and keep pace before he's just completely free, going crazy with it. But I think like you say, I think he's been good, but I know he is.
Breathe, Rob. It's okay, Rob. Let me jump in here. Let me jump in.
No, let me finish. That's just rude otherwise. I was just saying he's obviously rubbed some people up the wrong way in doing what he's doing.
Why you emotional? Why you emotional?
It's okay, Rob. I'm going to jump in and help you. Relax. I think Eddie was self-aware of the landscape of sports entertainment. He saw what UFC was doing. He saw what WWE was doing. Like he saw what other sports entertainment properties were doing outside of boxing, how they were adapting to the millennial age, basically, the internet age, really, even though the internet's been around since, in a mass production sense, like the mid 90s, late 90s, I would say the entertainment industry has taken a long time, and just like music, sports, TV, movies, everything took a very long time to adapt and to understand how to utilize the technology, the platform that is the internet. And UFC, WWE, they were the first ones really, I think, to understand that. And then I think Matchroom is right behind them, honestly. I think in large part because of Eddie looking at, wow, why is this upstart sport of only 20 years, 10 years, 15 years of existence being able to overtake boxing? Like, how is that possible? Like, boxing's a big 4, big 5 sport in the UK. Regardless of a boom period or not, it's still one of the big 5 sports in the UK, I would say. Even in the down period between Ricky Hatton and AJ, I would say it was still a big 5 sport over there. Right, Rob? Am I wrong about that?
It took a certain dip.
Yeah, of course.
Dip, but yeah. I mean, sports here are very seasonal. You can't play certain sports in certain weathers over here, so we stop playing the sport if it's raining and shit like that, like cricket. So, but boxing's obviously evening, and it's sort of all year round. So there's been boxing, but it did definitely take a dip. But I know what you mean. It's one of the main.
And I think Eddie saw, like, why was this sports entertainment property able to overtake a 100-year-old dominant player in the sports landscape of the U.S.? Because they were innovative when it came to technology. They were innovative when it came to social media and promoting. And I think Matchroom realized that, and they caught on a very early stage on how to adapt to the YouTube era, the social media era. Because think about it, I mean, Twitter was made in 2007. I think we always forget like how recent some of this stuff is. YouTube, I think, was made in 04, 05. Maybe one of you can correct me on that.
Which one, YouTube?
Yeah, I think that was like 05-ish, 04. That's only, 15 years ago now. That's recent memory. There are fighters that fought before there was YouTube that are still fighting now. And so Manny Pacquiao was a legend before YouTube was created, and he still is a legend and is still active right now fighting at the top. Think about that.
So YouTube.com was activated February the 14th, 2005, with video upload options being integrated on April the 23rd, 2005.
Think about this. Mayweather Oscar de la Hoya happened the same year YouTube was created. Like, we are still in a very young time for these platforms. And I think Matchroom was just really the first boxing promoter to understand how to utilize that. And I think they learned from other combat sports promoters on how to do that. Anyways, you guys have any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on this overall topic about Eddie Hearn? Do you want to move on? Anything else? Anything like that?
No, like I say, he's got his fans, he's got his serious haters, but he's doing his thing, and he's I think he's been one of the reasons British boxing's back where it is, and obviously he's trying to do the American thing, and that's going to take some time. But I think the zone will get there at some point, and he will be or will have been a sort of major factor in it. But well, yeah, we'll see how like DAZN and Matchroom USA grow. But yeah, I'm kind of done with that. It's obviously UK hour and a half.
So I'm so we're only going an hour. Are we actually are we sticking to only an hour?
Well, I don't know. It always used to be, but
okay, fine. Last topic of the day. Then we can get out of here, guys. So, let me get everything in order here because this one's a goodie, guys. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news. UK Hour exclusive. George Groves has been cited and is back in training. Just stop laughing. Hold on. Okay, this is not a joke. Okay.
For those listening on, oh no, it's not, is it?
No, it will be. It will be in 3 days, actually. So those listening on podcast in 3 days, I did wink right there.
Did a nudge, wink, wink.
It's a very obvious nudge. It was very ugly looking, actually. But anyways, George Groves is back, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean, these training methods, guys, this is something special here. I'm going to play the video for everyone to see. And it has almost 3.5 million views. This is fantastic. For those that are watching right now, it is a guy on not a treadmill, now on a treadmill, with a fucking samurai sword. A samurai sword in a LA Fitness. And I'll be honest, that is fucking George Groves. I don't care I don't care what you say. That is George Groves.
I don't know if you know the story, but that's Saint George Groves. You know, and obviously St. George slayed the dragon. I'm just saying, if you further want proof, then there you go. It's fact.
Yeah, but hold on. Samurai swords were not existent in medieval England, so.
Oh, then it's not George Groves, mate. It was just a YouTube video, a Twitter video. You just blew the whole thing.
Oh, damn it!
By going into the history of the samurai sword.
You know me. You know me when it comes to history. You know I'm a nerd.
Let it go. The fact that that doesn't marry up with history.
No. Europe didn't start trading with Japan until like the 1600s. Like, that's not true. Anyways,
joke. I gotta ruin the joke.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Fucking
no, on a little bit of George Groves.
Oh wait, serious shit. Is he okay?
No, he was supposed to work DeGale Eubank commentary, and he's now been told he's not.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm actually really bummed about that.
Don't know if it's from DeGale's team or Eubank's team.
It's one of them.
Yeah, but one of them don't want him working that night. So, yeah.
You know what? I would be okay with George Groves coming back and fighting the winner of this fight. I know he's probably not. I think he's kind of set in his retirement. But I still want to see a DeGale Groves rematch. Like, that's still, there's something to that to this day. But anyways, wrap up thoughts, ladies and gentlemen.
My wrap up thought is that
you go through
the lady first, of course.
I'm the A mic, so I'll
you're
do
the A mic. Is that Carl Frotz was wrong, and Matt does miss George Groves in boxing,
of course.
No, great show, guys. I love talking the UK stuff. Obviously, we've got the Big Baby Miller, Joshua card, in the reverse order of the names, coming which is going to be a big UK versus America card, which is going to be pretty dope. And had a lot of fun today. Glad we got to do these shows. Talk to you guys in our chat, I'm sure.
Rob? Or are you the A mic and you go last?
No, I'll go. It's fine. Yeah, obviously UK was back. We'll get more of a structure to it than today. There wasn't really sort of topic bullet points that we were going to refer to, but yeah, it turned into a good chat. You know, minimal American influence, I guess, with names and stuff like that. So I'll try and fine tune it and really get rid of those the likes of Errol Spence and things like that. But yeah, no, good. Glad, obviously, Potential Lunatic, shout out to you. Keyboard warrior on your own there today, doing your thing. But yeah, we hopefully keep this regular. We'll have topics and keep it all good. But yeah, thanks, obviously, Patreon members doing your thing, supporting the show. Like new ones, thanks for coming along, and joining up. Old OG ones, thanks for your support from way back and sticking with it. We're coming. Hopefully we'll continue to grow. More Patreons. Any help people can give is always appreciated. We want to get equipment for hitting gyms and press conferences. Fingers crossed I'm going to be at AJ Presser on Monday. Just waiting to hear that I've been sort of accepted. Yeah, so thanks everybody. UK Rob MCR, Instagram and Twitter. And as the A mic, Matt, I'll give you the honor of closing the show.
Thank you, A mic. I really appreciate it. Being the B mic, I'll be honest, even though it really didn't happen this show, is what I want to happen on this show. So whenever you feel comfortable, Rob, please take that A mic. I can take a back seat. It would be nice to be a B mic once again. No. Anyways, obviously, since patrons, you are listening to this live right now, we love you. We love the support. Continue to support, continue to tell friends to join and support the movement, because all of your money goes towards these two guys and getting them equipment and getting them to that AJ Miller event in New York. What, Rob? You're looking up in the air like...
No.
Oh,
no.
I thought that was okay. Just making sure. Looked like you had a little smart ass like smirk on your face. I'm like, what are you?
There was no eye roll moment. It's all good. Crack on.
Anyways, if you're not listening to this live, then head over to Patreon right now. If you're listening to this 3 days from now for free on YouTube, then you missed out. You should have came here live, joined the show, call in live, all that fun stuff. And plus, you get to see this stuff like when it's pretty current. This show's gonna come out at 10 a.m. on Saturday before the fight. So, unfortunately, for all of you that wanted the big DeGale Eubank breakdown, got to get a UK hour. And head over to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio to help support the movement. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, listen on podcast form, drop that 5-star review, and have a great day. Peace.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
We are Sparta!
I said it last year when I heard you to take part. We're here to take over.
Hey, pussy, are you still